Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Nathbet. It's game week 34, an early edition this week. I bring it to you on Wednesday night. That's because I've got my bets locked in. As soon as I've got my bets locked in, especially with the Champions League over and done with, no midweek games, I like to get my bets, my tips out ASAP so you can get the best price. Because remember, those prices do fluctuate between now and the end of the week. So it's Wednesday night. These are the tips that will get you plenty of profit this weekend. I'm absolutely guaranteeing it this weekend. I do like it a lot. I do like a lot of the bets. I said last week was difficult, and it proved so. Chesterfield let us down late in the double. I think it was 84th, 85th minute, a Newport Town equaliser. That happens. But like I said, we had a fantastic run of things. And I do like the bets this week, so make sure you do use our staking plan that we recommend. If you haven't seen that, please visit the section on our site. And let's go and let's make, like I say, plenty of profit. First of all, the safe double this week, a championship safe double for us. We're going to go with Burnley to beat Middlesbrough is the first bet. Burnley to beat Middlesbrough at Turf Moor. Burnley on a great run of form. They've won 5 and they lost 1 out of their last 6 at home. And they can actually get promoted this weekend if results go their way, and they'll be desperate to get promoted in front of their home crowd. Like I say, fantastic home form. Middlesbrough, on the other hand, have got terrible away form. Now, they have won the last couple of games. They've done very, very well, beating Derby in midweek. They beat Birmingham City, comfortably. However, away from home, they do struggle for goals, and I just think that going to Turf Moor will be too much for them on this occasion. And Burnley, and with Leicester losing as well in midweek, have got that outside chance of Leicester just settling down. Obviously, been partying all week, so you can kind of understand the stuffing by Brighton at home. But at the same time, they'll have a couple of eyes, especially if Leicester lose again, on winning the championship altogether. But that promotion carrot that's been dangling, I think, is too much for them to get a draw or even lose. I think they will win this game. So Burnley to beat Middlesbrough even money is our first bet. Double them up with Steve McLaren's Derby, who did lose to Middlesbrough at the last weekend, but convincingly beat Blackpool after going 1-0 behind 3-1 at Blackpool, who were on a bit of a run themselves. But obviously Derby quality came through, and I think the quality will come through again on this occasion. They face Huddersfield. Huddersfield win mid-table, doing the best now to get themselves involved in a relegation battle come the end of the season. I don't think they will do, but they're on a horrible run of fixtures, and the last thing they want to do is go to Pride Park and trying to get a result. Steve McLaren obviously looks like the playoffs are what's going to happen for them. However, at the same time, they'll probably want to guarantee the playoffs, especially if first seed in the playoffs, ASAP. So maybe some rest some players in the last couple of games of the season, make sure they're fresh for the playoff run. Semi-final and final will come within a few days of each other, don't they? So important game for Derby, and I think that they will win this game and win this game well. Derby available, like I say, at 8-11. So Burnley and Derby gives us a 2.4-1 double this week, guys. That is with Sky Bet. Okay, on with the treble. We have got an all Premier League treble, 3 home games and 3 teams. Actually, I didn't really consider tipping much this season. I haven't tipped much because they've been struggling, but at the same time, resurgence and form and run of form and opposition plays a big part in my tips and my analysis and my note taking. And I've got three interesting teams, really, at a very good price and a very nice price treble as well. Crystal Palace are our first team. Done fantastic, haven't they? Tony Pulis has just come in. I mean, they were dead and buried, weren't they, before he came? And everybody written them off as absolute guaranteed rock bottom 20th place. See you later, championship. Well, look at them now, absolutely flying. 1-0 win against Chelsea. They stuffed Cardiff 3-0 away. They are absolutely on fire, especially at Selhurst Park, where they're so strong. And a visit of Aston Villa, who are pretty much in disarray, aren't they? I lost to Fulham last weekend at home. They're in mid-table. Maybe disarray is maybe a harsh kind of a word. They lost Christian Benteke as well. Gabriel Bonelhor's constantly injured as well. So they're kind of like toothless up front now. And conceding goals at the back, it's not a good combination. So I do think that Crystal Palace, especially with their home form, are a good bet, especially odds against 23-20. Crystal Palace this weekend, we're going to take them to beat Aston Villa. Second in the treble, they were rock bottom. They're not now because Sunderland have taken their place. But Fulham, who would have thought it? They've got a little shimmering light at the end of that tunnel that they have got a chance of escaping. I don't think they will. I think they will end up going down. However, excellent win, like I said, away at Aston Villa last weekend, and they're starting to get a bit of confidence and playing better. Lewis Holtby's been an excellent acquisition on loan from Spurs. As have a couple of signings, and Felix Magath looks a bit Where's Wally-ish, doesn't he, with those glasses? But at the same time, did the business at Aston Villa, so you've got to give him a bit of credit. Now they face Norwich, and Norwich are on a quick slide down, aren't they? Fired Chris Hughton after the loss at the weekend. And I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Mr. Adams, reserve team or youth team boss, has been promoted. He says he's going to make a lot of changes. They're going to play in a different formation. They're going to bring a lot of youth into the team. It's just a sign that you don't particularly like. They've always written themselves off. They've got a horrendous running. Yes, Fulham's probably the best chance they've got of getting all 3 points. But, Fulham, especially the way they're playing at the moment, I think will beat them. Fulham 23-20, same price as Crystal Palace. I do think we're going to get another home win. And if they do win that game, then you never ever know. But I do think that they will beat Norwich this weekend. So 23-20 is the price that we're going to take them at. Fulham to beat Norwich. Finish that off with Stoke City to beat Newcastle at home. Stoke, not particularly attractive team to watch. You might say they're playing a little bit better recently, but I'm not going to, certainly if they're on TV, I'm not going to turn on and watch them for 90 minutes. I don't think you are either, unless you've had a few bets on, obviously. But excellent. I mean, apart from that, they've done really well. Yes, they did lose to Chelsea last weekend, but a lot of sides can go to Stamford Bridge and lose quite easily as well. So I'm going to write that one off. But before that, they've done very, very well. They've had some big wins. They're 10th in the league. Newcastle 9th. If they do win, then they'll be 3 points behind Newcastle. And Mark Hughes definitely looking to finish in the top half of the table and go for Stoke's highest ever finish. So they've got an incentive and they're on the up as well. Newcastle, on the other hand, are just they're pretty diabolical at the moment, aren't they? Losing 3-0 and 4-0 to everyone. And even Man United. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's bad when you're losing 3-0, 4-0 to Manchester United, especially at home. Remy hasn't helped, and they've got injuries to Krul and Debussy and a lot of their key players. Obviously losing, players to Paris Saint-Germain. It's just not a particularly. They're in a particularly difficult place, aren't they? Because they're kind of not going anywhere. They're mid-table. They're not going higher. They could go lower, but they've still got that 6-point cushion. And they're a typical end-of-season team that you want to play who are playing for nothing, basically. And yes, you could argue Stoke are doing that as well. But like I said, that highest finish, and Mark Hughes still got quite a bit to prove as a manager as well. So Stoke to beat Newcastle at 5-4 is my last one in the treble. Crystal Palace, Fulham, and Stoke City gives us a huge treble of 9.4-1. That's best price with Ladbrokes at the moment. Remember, get these prices on tonight. If you're on Wednesday night, don't wait till Friday or even Thursday evening, because these prices will come in. I guarantee you that. So 9.4-1, very nice price treble if you can get it. Okay, let's go on to the fourfold. Fourfold, first of all, Sunderland against Everton are our first stop in the fourfold. Sunderland went 1-0 up, didn't they, against Tottenham on Monday Night Football, only to be done 4-1, and I think that's them gone. Gus Poyet said afterwards that he needs a miracle, and I think they need a miracle as well. I think they're absolutely dead and buried. I think they've gone. They've gone as a team. Heads go down as soon as they concede. They drop the captain, John O'Shea. It's not looking good for them, and especially against a team who are stuffed Arsenal 3-0 on Sunday. They're absolutely magnificent, weren't they? Roberto Martinez, and I sang his praises last season when he took over. He's just been fantastic. Phenomenal manager at Wigan, did wonders there. And at Everton, well, it just shows that maybe David Moyes wasn't, the saint that he was, and this amazing manager, because Martinez is even taking them to a next level with, well, largely inferior players when they've lost, Fellaini, one of their best two, really, under him. So, 4-5 by Everton is a price that I do like. Like I say, even with Sunderland's desperate situation, and you think they're going to win, and you think they might, put out a performance at the bag. Well, we thought that against West Ham, didn't we, last Monday night, and look what happened there. So 4-5 by Everton is our first price and our first bet in the fourfold. Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship, we're going to back them to beat Nottingham Forest. Now, they're the one team this week who I'm not backing in form. In fact, they've lost the last two defeats to Blackpool and Bournemouth on the road. But difficult places to go. The sat fourth in the moment, and yes, they should make the playoffs. And I think if they don't, then however end up, you can wave bye-bye to that. But at the same time, they will, like I said about Derby earlier on, they will want to make sure of those playoffs sooner rather than later. And a home game against Nottingham Forest too. Have been pretty dreadful as of late. They were scraped a 3-3 draw. About the managerial problems of Stuart Pearce taking over next season. I mean, I'm not as big a hater as I am of Mark Hughes, even though he's not right this season. Don't get me started on Stuart Pearce. I mean, how he's even got a job. Don't get me started, okay? But Nottingham Forest, I think, will be whipping boys, and I think that Queen's Park Rangers will get to winning ways. 13-10 about Queen's Park Rangers. We're going to take them in the fourfold. Everton, Queen's Park Rangers, and we're going to take Spurs as our next bet. They travel to West Brom. West Brom, excellent win, didn't they, away at Norwich? But I think that was more to do with Norwich's lack of bite and just general dreariness than West Brom playing well. But they have played, they've played decent as of late, and obviously they've pushed themselves away from that relegation zone that many people tipped them for. So Pepe Mel must be a happy man. At the same time, Spurs, obviously Tim Sherwood lost his job, or looks like he's going to lose his job. You think that might be counterproductive. I actually think if you looked at him on Monday night, he looked more relaxed. He's been this guy on the bench who's exploding and throwing his jacket and talking in a kind of like a jokey kind of a way to the media and slamming his players. He looks a lot more relaxed, and I think the team look more relaxed as well, and it's kind of helped him actually. I think it'll help him these next 4 or 5 games. They've got a fantastic run of games. Christian Eriksen, supporting Adebayo up front. I think they'll be too good for West Brom on this occasion. Like I said, West Brom might take their foot off the gas, especially with everyone else losing in and around them, and they're winning the last couple. So Spurs at 11-8, I think is a good price. We're going to take them at 11-8 to beat West Brom, beat the Baggies. And yeah, I think that's a very good price to take that one. So 11-8 about Spurs. Finish that off with Chelsea. Chelsea, obviously, you watched them, Paris Saint-Germain 2-0 win, fantastic. Obviously, only drawback on that situation was Eden Hazard. Looked like they lost him for a couple of weeks. I expect him to probably be back next weekend, to be honest. Managers always fear the worst, and then they probably end up making a miracle recovery. But especially with Manchester City playing Liverpool this weekend, Mourinho will know that could quite easily end up in a draw. And if they do, and Chelsea go to Swansea and win, then they're right back in that race, and they'll know that, and they've still got to go to Liverpool as well. So as much as Mourinho writes their chances off, I do think that this is an important game for them, and I think that Mourinho, now they've got that monkey off the back against Paris Saint-Germain, can afford to get a full-strength side out. Okay, bar Eden Hazard, but Swansea going to Hull City last week and losing, they didn't play particularly well. I mean, the game wasn't particularly good on a whole, but Gary Monk doesn't really fill you with that much joy and aggressiveness and fear, do you? And I just think that, like Brendan Rodgers did, and I do think that Chelsea going to Swansea, I think they'll win. I think they'll win easily 2-0 or 3-0, even without Mr. Hazard. So 4-5 about Chelsea. Take them. That's Everton, Queen's Park Rangers, Spurs and Chelsea. Gives us a 15.8 to 1 fourfold. That's best with Bet Victor. Get the bets on, guys. 2.4 to 1 double, a 9.4 to 1 treble, and a 15.8 to 1 fourfold. Now, Twitter followers, okay? If you have seen us, if you saw us last week, we're doing a special offer now. We're giving you a free £20 bet. Anyone who tweets the tips, retweets and the Nathbet tips this week, they will be going on, like I say, Wednesday night. Between now and Friday at 6 p.m. Friday 6 p.m. is the cutoff. We are going to pick a lucky name. We did last week as well. We put the bet on for the treble for them. It's a free £20 bet on the treble. Didn't come to fruition. This week, guys, if you retweet the tips, you will automatically be entered into the draw. We will pick a lucky winner. We will let them know via a tweet. And now they get to choose what £20 they spend the bet on. They'll get a free £20 bet. They get to choose whether they want the £20 free bet to go on the double, the treble, or the fourfold. Whatever they like this week, we will put it on the double, treble, or fourfold, whatever they wish. And hopefully, well, let's make sure, definitely they'll be getting a profit, and we'll send all that cash to them, transfer that across, hopefully on Sunday evening. So retweet those tips, double, treble, and fourfold, and we will see you next week. Like I say, enjoy a great weekend, guys. You've got fantasy, you've got Premier League action, you've got FA Cup action, you've got the Masters. Open some accounts, get some money on, make sure and make good use of those free bets. We will see you next week. Have a great one. Enjoy. Bye-bye.